Here is a guide of everything coming in patch 12.0.7 for World of Warcraft Midnight. Hello there guys and welcome to the Drowsy Dragon. Let's take a look at all this patch has to offer and all the information that you need to know. Let's begin with the showdown at these two new locations, Naigtal and Val. And that's not referring to anybody's grandma. When you log in, you'll get a quest called Time to Strike, and you can hand this in Silvermoon City up at the Ritual Sites hub where the vendors are. You'll speak to Riftblade Maella to get two new quests to recruit some Demon Hunters and some Lightforged to help set up forward camps on these new missions. While you're here, you'll also notice that there is a Magister's Missive scroll. This leads to the quest to unlock the Omnium Folio, which we'll discuss later on in the video. So you simply go on some short quest lines to recruit these two groups, the Demon Hunters and the Lightforged, to go onto these new missions with you. When doing the Demon Hunters quest, the shadows that you need to soak up can be a bit hard to see, but simply take the sight buff where the edge of your screen goes purple, drop down into the street below and look for the dark shadows, walk over them and you will soak them up, and that's how you get that quest done. Having recruited both of those sets of guys, you head to the Voidstorm to open up the portal to where the enemies assaulting Zul'Aman and Eversong are striking from. So these two assault zones or strike zones or whatever you want to call them rotate every week. So on the PTR we started off with Val. Once you enter these zones you get a weekly quest basically to kill rares, loot treasures and complete world quests in the zone. Interestingly, you can unlock heroic world tier on these maps. To do so you need to complete the intro quests and kill the world boss there. Doing that on either Val or Naigtal will unlock the heroic world tiers for both zones, which does ramp the difficulty up quite a lot. The world bosses are recommended that you have 15 players to kill them. They're fine on normal, but heroic is a big jump. On normal it only recommends 217 item level, but on heroic world tier it recommends 274, so pretty huge jump. On normal these world bosses drop champion gear, but it's hero gear on heroic world tier, and all of them are BOE, which means of course you can send them to alts or even sell them on the auction house. Do remember though guys that all the information in this video is coming from the PTR and we're still at least a few weeks away from this patch, so things might change. So to get to and from these sites you can either go to the Voidstorm in the main hub there and take the portal, which of course rotates each week, or you can simply take the portal from Silvermoon City just at the bottom underneath where the Ritual Sites vendors are. There are plenty of achievements tied to these two new locations, with mounts, pets, cosmetics and other rewards to be earned, so they will keep us busy for quite a while. I will do a more in-depth guide specifically on these locations and the achievements related to them in a future video, so stay tuned for that. Next up we've got the Omnium Folio. So this is basically another system where you're going to get some borrowed power, but don't worry, they seem to have learned some lessons from the past. So to get this Omnium Folio unlocked, all you need to do is complete the introductory questline, which doesn't take too long. You get this from the Magister's Missive at the Ritual Sites quest hub, or you can accept it from the suggested content by pressing Shift and J and go into the suggested content tab. So follow this story through into Magister's Terrace, where you reach the Sunstrider Omnium, which appears to be active and causing some trouble in the library. You're tasked with calming things down, and then Magister Umbric and Archmage Romath split up, and we need to go and assist both of them. It's pretty cool here running around the Magister's Terrace zone, which would normally be in the dungeon area. Now Umbric's quests are down in Eversong Woods, but once you've completed those there is a handy portal back, and you can carry on with the next ones. When you return the two parts needed from each questline, they are combined and the long dormant Omnium is active once more. You then get tasked with becoming a Seeker, and this involves doing weekly quests with Romath and Umbric, which there are 5 of those in total, so when you do 5 weeks, you'll have everything unlocked. So it's a little bit different to how previous borrowed power systems have worked. What you do with this one is when it's unlocked, you'll notice an extra button on your minimap. Now this might not show up if you have add-ons that interfere with the minimap, so if it isn't there once you've unlocked the quest line and completed it, just maybe turn off your minimap add-on and check that it is there. And this button is how you access the UI for this, and you can change your powers whenever you want to, so don't worry, there's no need to go all the way back here whenever you want to change your power. You can simply do this on the fly no matter where you are. So what are the actual powers like then? So you do have to choose one core rune. It's either related to fire from Romath or void from Umbric. You can see here with the void touched orb, so every 10 seconds you attract a void orb up to a maximum of 5. Your attacks send the orbs at your enemy and they do more damage, or you've also got the healing version of that where they heal the lowest health ally, so pretty useful. The fire version just gives you a chance to call down a pillar of fire and deal damage to an enemy or cauterize the wounds of an ally. So they both have that kind of damage or heal aspect depending on what role you're playing. The following weeks from 2 up to 5 simply bolster the powers of that initial core rune. So just basically play around with it and see what you like the flavour of more. It's not going to be game breaking, it's not going to, cause you to do insane amounts more damage or healing, but it's just a nice little added bit of flavour based on what this system is. So every weekly reset you'll have a new quest for a total of 5 weeks, and once you've done those you'll have unlocked all these powers. So you can see the second weekly quest here. It's nothing too complicated, you just need to go and collect 8 ritualized arcana from ritual sites. So pretty simple, and they're likely to all follow this format as well. Once you complete all 5 weeks of these quests, you'll get an achievement, Omnium Folio Studies, as well as the Omnium Simulacrum Decor item, so you can have one of these strange things in your home. Now, Omnium Folio is a strange sort of combination of words, isn't it? And as a player base, we've only just quite learned how to type rogue instead of rouge, so I think people are going to mess this up and it's going to be quite humorous. For example, have you done your Omnius Foliage quest for the week? Hey, anyone doing the Ordinary Exfoliate quest? How do I even unlock the Omnom for Lulio Lulu? It's going to be quite funny, isn't it? So, perhaps the third biggest thing coming with this patch is the Sporefall raid. This is where they're going to test out Mythic Flex difficulty for the first time ever. So you will be able to do this, no longer needing a party of strictly 20 members, you can go between 15 and 25. Now this is a simple single boss raid just like Chimeras was in the Dream Rift. It's been changed quite a bit on the PTR recently and it may change again. Initially the gear from this was Warbound gear at a reasonable item level, so you could just send this to any alts for example, but they've since changed it by buffing the item level quite a lot, so it will drop pretty high item level gear, but the stats on the items seem to be random, which is a little bit of a problem, isn't it? Because you can see how that can easily become quite annoying, especially if you are using your bonus rolls on these pieces. Let's say for example you need to get a ring with a particular set of stats, which we all kind of do, right? And you bonus roll, you get the ring, but the ring rolls the wrong stats. What situation does that leave you in? That could be quite annoying because now you can't bonus roll for that ring again, right? Because you've already got it and it's ticked off the loot table. So yeah, bit unsure on that and how that's going to work. Maybe we just can't use bonus rolls in that raid, but that would also be a bit dodgy, right? Because what will be the point in the system? So let's see how that plays out. But to be honest, it's a good way for Blizzard to test this Mythic Flex difficulty. I know we're not all Mythic Raiders, but it's nice that they're doing it for, the top end kind of guys. So yeah, intrigued to see how that plays out. And it's nice to have just a raid with one boss that you can just go in and blast if you need a piece of gear from it. I do like the fact that they've done these split raids this time to kind of test how that goes. And I think it's gone down pretty well. But what do you think? The new thing for the casual folk in the community is the Dragonflight Timewalking that gets added. So you've got 5 Dragonflight dungeons added to the rotating Timewalking events. And with the bringing of this, you also get the Turbulent Timeways event that's coming to the game for, it seems to be about 10 weeks. So it will be nice to do some of these dungeons again as a proper dungeon group. I just hope the scaling isn't all wacky like it sometimes is for new ones. Ruby Life Pools is likely to be the quickest one that you can do out of this set, with dungeons such as Brackenhide Hollow and Halls of Infusion probably taking a while, especially if you get like a new tank that's not done it before. Getting around those places can be a bit of a faff. The rewards vendor is in Valdrakken, and there's some pretty nice things you can get from this, including the long wondered about Druid of the Flame Transmog set that was data mined all the way back in Dragonflight that never came to the game, but here it is now, and it's pretty damn sexy. You've also got the Neltharion styled shoulders and helmet, which are pretty cool too. A lovely blue, one of those dragon egg staff things, or staves if you want to call it a stave, as well as mounts and pets and other cosmetics. So some nice rewards there from Dragonflight Timewalking. Now the Turbulent Timeways event begins in 12.0.7, scheduled for the 16th of June for US and the day after for EU realms. However, remember PTR, so this might change nearer the time. You do have plenty of time to get the new Mastery of the Turbulent Timeways achievement, and doing so will earn you the Mount the Spawn of Virinoth. You can almost feel the Frost Mages drooling right now. All you need to do is complete Timewalking dungeons until you get the Mastery buff, because it will stack up. You get Knowledge of the Timeways and then Mastery of the Timeways. Complete a Timewalking dungeon every week with the Mastery buff, basically maintain the buff for 5 weeks, and you'll get the achievement. So you can either do this on your main, do your 5 time walk-ins, get the mastery buff, and then just do 5 time walk-ins the next week and repeat for 5 weeks. Or you could do this on an alt, which could save you some time, because the buff will of course eventually fall off after a few hours. So you could do 5 on an alt, get the mastery buff, and just don't log into the alt until next week. Do 1 time walking dungeon, and that will give you credit. So that will save you some time if you're not a big time walking player. So time walking is always a great time to level some alts because you get good XP from the dungeons, especially for completing it, you get the XP bonus at the end. But to also help with leveling in the new patch, certain types of quest hand-ins have been buffed significantly, and it is quite a lot. The main thing, for example, you've got the Delver's Call quests, the ones that you get for completing the delve for the first time on a character. Those have been buffed massively. They've gone from giving around 80k XP to 142k XP, so nearly doubling those. As well as that, you've got the Prey Hunt quest hand-ins that have been buffed up to about 100k XP, and also the weekly event quests as well. For example, Salthorel's Soiree, that's been buffed, so you also get around 100k XP for doing those. And also the dungeon quests, the ones that get you to go into the dungeon, kill the bosses, and then turn that in, those have been buffed quite significantly as well. So it means that you'll feel like you can do a variety of content rather than just farming the same thing to level efficiently. So no longer do you need to lock yourself in time walking until you get to 90. So really it will be a fast way to level by simply doing all the delves once for the Delver's Bounty quests, save those to level 88 and then hand them all in at once. That will likely now get you to level 90 just with those. What you can also do as you're going through the delves, just make sure you pick up a prey hunt and have one of those active in any of the zones. Go and do the delves in that zone. Once you've done the delves, complete the prey hunt, so it's a good time to combine some side quests or world quests with that as well. And as you're doing that, queue up for a dungeon. If time walking's active, do a time walking dungeon. If not, do a regular dungeon and ideally have the quest for that dungeon to do. For example, the one from outside of Windrunner Spire. Go in there with the quest to make yourself a bit more efficient, and you'll probably find leveling is just that bit smoother in the new patch. There are of course some housing changes to look forward to as well, so if your house is level 7 or above, your outdoor decor limit now goes to 350, so another 100 added on top of that. We can also now place lighting decor items outside, but you can't go too nuts. You don't want to make the neighbourhood explode, right? Maybe you do, but you can't. So there is a bit of a restricted area around each light source, and you'll see this indicated nice and clearly on the UI. So you do need to space them out quite a bit. You'll notice that the bigger the light is and the more you scale it up, the bigger the area it will take up, so you can't place any of the lights near that one. So this is one of those situations where smaller might be better. As well as these changes to the lighting and the decor limit external, you've got over 100 new items coming to the vendors, and a lot of these you can find just on the simple basic housing vendors within the neighbourhoods. Square rug is going to be a winner for a lot of people. We no longer need to use the circular ones only, and you've got some other lovely items as well, you know, different types of furniture and shrubbery and plants and things, so bring it on. The more decor, the better. And we've got a lot of troll storylines as well. It's a very troll focused patch, this one. Hopefully we don't get trolled by a ton of bugs like we did in patch 12.0.5. We'll see. So, you've got the Zul'Jan storyline that continues as well. You can simply start this from the adventure guide by pressing Shift J and go into the suggested content tab. And don't worry, I'm not going to give you any spoilers here. So, it's a reasonably decent storyline, but it suffers from the way that WoW storylines work. The quest designer for this one recently asked for feedback on Twitter, and everyone was sort of saying the same thing. Now, Zul'Jan is a guy that's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet about the elves, hasn't he? So, if you're playing an elf character, you kind of stood there wondering, like, why am I helping this guy? You know, my character would not do this. He's basically going on about getting some weapon, so if the elves ever attack again, they can defend themselves. But why would we say, yeah, dude, we're going to get this weapon for you? And I am an elf, so you're not going to turn that on me, right? And he's like, no, why would I ever do that? But you're like, mate, you definitely would turn that weapon on me if you had the opportunity. So it seems a little bit janky. There's definitely parts in the questline where you think, no, I just wouldn't help this guy. For example, you've got to go into Mysara Caverns to collect a specific item, which is going to help him to basically find this weapon. So you could literally just say no, right? Now, the quest designer for this was basically combating these bits of feedback by saying, it's just the way WoW works, that's just what we have to do given the nature of the game, that's how we need to tell this story. But I did think of a possible workaround, maybe I'm wrong, but my suggestion would be, let us have the option to either say, yes, I want to help Zul'Jan and do the questline as normal, or say, no, I don't support this guy's ideas, and then let you experience the questline through the eyes of someone else, from the player that did say yes. So you can stand there saying, okay, I know my character didn't help this guy, but I do understand where the story went. So you still do the same questline, maybe it just morphs you into a different kind of character. Just like when you go into a horde side of a raid, if you're Alliance, you get put into the body of a troll, for example. So that could work, right? Easy fix in my eyes, but who am I to say that? So we do learn a lot about Ula Tech in this questline, and it starts to lay the foundations for the 12.1 content, where we're likely going to go over to the island that we can't yet get to because it's shrouded in fog. The questline itself is pretty decent to play through, and you do learn a bit more about the characters involved, and about what's going to be coming up in the next patch as well, 12.1, presumably. For doing it, you get yourself a little battle pet, Ikiki, which is a lovely little bird thing. Now, if you ever wonder how dedicated I am to getting this content made for you guys, I had to do Mysara Caverns as a follower dungeon on the PTR, and that was a nightmare. I really don't like follower dungeons. I like that they exist, but the NPCs, oh my goodness, the most annoying people in the world. People. But we went in there, we got it done, true dedication, and here we are. I sincerely hope that Justin Hawksworth and Krenna the Earth Daughter step on a Lego. Just stand still, dude, stop bouncing around the whole dungeon and pulling all the packs. Still hurts. We've also got the hatching of Jan Ali's eggs. Now I thought this was going to be a bit of an event, and maybe it still will be, but it simply seems to be just a short questline. You basically go, hatch some eggs, and assist the hatchlings. For doing this, you will get yourself a little battle pet, Emberlin. There's a lovely little dragon hawk to basically follow you around, but it doesn't really go any further than that. Like I say, this is PTR, so more get added to this. This would be the perfect example to do one of those sorts of questline systems where you get the little pet and you basically work week by week to help the pet grow, you feed it, you train it, and then maybe one day it eventually becomes a mount. We've had it a few times before, and I thought that's what this was going to be. So let's see what it turns out to be. Maybe it's just a short questline, maybe it's more. We'll find out in the patch. As well as this, you've also got some new Lorewalking quests as well, to learn about the history of the various troll factions. So that could be quite interesting. I haven't tested this on PTR just yet, but you basically go with Li Li this time, so it's not Lorewalker Cho, he's basically taking a little nap at the minute, and you've got Li Li instead. So likely to be some pretty decent types of story quests there to go through. The Lorewalking system isn't that bad, it's pretty decent, especially for people that don't know about the certain aspects of lore that are being talked about and quested through. You will likely get some decent rewards from those as well, maybe decor items, maybe cosmetics, but we'll see. It's definitely setting up that fact that we're going to be heading into some more troll territory, you know, chasing down Ula Tech in whatever scenario that involves us in, and yeah, just learning some more about the trolls as a whole. And then you've got some UI improvements. Now, there's nothing on this list that's majorly a standout feature to get excited about, but there's some improvements to the Blizzard damage meters and the raid frames and the boss ability timeline as well. So here are the changes coming that you can see on the screen now. Yeah, decent improvements, and at least it shows that they are still working on the default UI for people that don't want to use add-ons. And that's basically all the content coming in patch 12.0.7. It's a bit of a mouthful that. I can't wait so we can just talk about 12.1. It's so much easier to say, but that'll be next, right? So what we'll do, guys, this is basically an overview for you of all the things coming in the patch, bit of a intro sort of teaser. What we'll do is some more specific content about these particular systems, especially the mounts that are coming and the achievements and things like that. So do stay tuned for those. If you found this video helpful or useful or hopefully entertaining, please do leave a like on it and consider subscribing for more content all about World of Warcraft from me here at the Drowsy Dragon. Special shout out to our channel members here on YouTube and our patrons over on Patreon as well. Thank you for supporting the channel, it is much appreciated, and if you'd like to do so too, you can find the links below in the description. With 3 channel members off being able to show you guys on the front page of this YouTube channel, so once we get 3 more, you guys will be up there for everyone to see. I do appreciate the support guys, thank you so much. With that, that's the end of the video, so thank you for watching, do leave a like, do subscribe if you want more content from me here at the Drowsy Dragon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day guys, cheers!